A real story. About black magic. I prefer not to reveal my name for fear of consequences or for fear of being ridiculed, because I know that some people may doubt the story I am about to tell. I am 28 years old and I was staying at my parents' house. They were going on a trip, and I would be responsible for taking care of the house for a few days. The first day was completely normal, nothing strange happened. But on the second day, while I was napping on the couch, I was woken up by noises coming from the bathroom upstairs. I got up to see what it was, but I didn't find anything out of the ordinary. I took advantage of the fact that I was already upstairs and went to bed in my old room. As I was getting ready for bed, I heard another noise, this time coming from downstairs. I was intrigued by these strange noises, so I went downstairs to investigate. Again, there was nothing out of place. I tried to convince myself that they were just normal household noises, maybe furniture creaking or something like that. On the third day, when I woke up in the morning, I noticed that the door to my room was open. This left me disconcerted, as I always have a habit of closing the door before going to bed. I wanted to believe that perhaps I had forgotten to close it, but I knew deep down that I had locked it the night before. I decided to take a walk around the house to see if everything was in order. I checked the security cameras around the house, but there were no signs of a break-in. This put me at ease a little, dispelling the idea that it could have been a burglar. Later, while I was preparing lunch, something even more frightening happened. All the pots and pans that were hanging in the kitchen fell to the floor at once. I was really startled. I had heard stories about supernatural phenomena before, but I had never really known what to believe. At that moment, the only thing that went through my mind was exactly this: could I be dealing with something from the other world? That afternoon, I decided to call my dad and ask him if he had noticed anything strange going on in the house. He paused before answering and asked why I was asking that question. I told him everything that had happened in the last few days. To my surprise, he didn't seem surprised at all. He explained that these noises started after my mom brought home a decorative owl that she had received as a gift. He told me that since then, these strange sounds have become more frequent. However, my mom insisted that they were just normal noises in the house and that she couldn't get rid of the owl since it had been a gift from a close friend. I asked him where the owl was, and he said it was in the living room. I told him that I would investigate further and hung up the phone. When I finally approached the owl, it seemed to be a simple ornament, nothing special. But as soon as I looked at it for a while, a shiver ran through my body. I decided to do some research on the subject, but I couldn't find anything specific. What I discovered was something related to black magic, where people supposedly place curses on objects to give as gifts to others, causing misfortune to the recipient. I didn't know whether or not I believed in this, but I wasn't willing to completely rule it out. I decided to wait for my parents to return so we could discuss the matter. I thought about calling my mother, but I didn't want to ruin their trip, and they only had 2 days to go. I left the house to go to the market to buy some things. When I came back and opened the door, I saw a figure crossing the living room before disappearing. It was terrifying. I quickly went inside, but didn't see anything else. I went to the kitchen to make something to eat, and the TV in the living room turned on by itself. The situation was starting to seem like a real horror movie. Later, when I went to my room, I saw a figure in the hallway upstairs, as if it was inspecting the rooms, one by one. the scariest thing was that the figure was floating. I couldn't take it anymore. I took the owl and drove to a junkyard in the city, where I threw it away without hesitation. In the following days, everything went back to normal. When my parents returned from their trip, I called them for a serious talk. I told them everything about the owl, and my mother was upset that I had gotten rid of it, since it was a gift from a very dear friend. My father and I explained what had been happening in the house, and I showed her some similar stories on my notebook. She was torn between believing or not that her friend could be capable of something so evil. However, she also knew that neither my father nor I were making it up. In the end, my mother ended up distancing herself from this friend, and my father assured me that nothing strange had happened since then. That was the end of the story. I believe that black magic can end a life. You must be careful who you call a friend. And beware of the darkness behind you.